Hi, my name is Patton Oswalt, and I feel radiant about being Conan O'Brien's friend.
You know, it's funny. There's a light coming off of you.
It really does.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
I'm glad I'm here.
And that's all the time we have.
All right. Thanks a lot. Check me out, PattonOswalt.com. Tour date's coming up. Thanks. I got 5 other podcasts to do, man. I'm just doing the promo thing.
Do you know, because the late night show started in 93, I feel like you were on one of those people that came on fairly early on.
Around, I think, 94 or 95 was my first time.
And then I used to refer to you as just money in the bank, meaning you would come on the show, and I knew that was a segment. Not only did I not have to worry about it, but it was going to be really, really funny, and we could do as much time as we wanted to, which is always a gift for someone like me.
You can
because
relax.
I can relax. Patton's here, and you would go down so many fascinating little wormholes in your comedy, which are very, and the way you paint pictures using words always delighted me. You've got great imagery.
Yeah, I always felt good about that.
Well, I see your skills at killing time.
Oh, boy.
You were the first.
Have you taken a turn?
You were the first late night show that I would go on where you would actually give me insight into the sausage making of the show.
Oh, I would?
You were when we were off mic or going to commercial, you were very open about a guest that had just been on where you're like, that was pulling teeth. Like, I had nothing to say. And I remember, I'm not going to name the band. I was on one time and a band came on and was playing. And it was one of those early, like, screamo bands.
Yep.
And you just leaned over to me and you went, I hate wisdom rock. And that is the category that I assigned. There are certain bands that just had that whole take my hand, that kind of wisdom rock. And it's always insulting because it's wisdom rock from 22-year-olds.
Yes.
Like people who've not had any wisdom.
But they have come down from the mountain to tell you that, and power chords, and also that way of singing that sounds like a donkey is preaching.
Yes.
And it was always just like, I'm going to tell you about the land. I'm going to take you by the hand and I'll lift you to a higher place.
Right, exactly.
Come
on, you're 22.
Yeah, 2 years from now, you'll be working in a hardware store, asshole. And you're giving us this key to the future.
Let me tell you how life is. No, you don't. You don't need to tell me.
Now let me tell you how to mix up that paint. I put it in this machine, and then it's going to vibrate real fast.
Take my hand and give me that coupon for the L nuts this week. It really was, but that became such a genre for me in my mind.
Summer's here. Of course, summer's the time for everything fresh. Let me list a few. Fresh air, refreshing vacations, and plenty of HelloFresh to liven up meals. That's where I was going, HelloFresh. And with chef-crafted seasonal recipes and new fresh and fit summer menu, HelloFresh brings you flavor right to your door.
Yeah.
Now's the peak time for summer produce. HelloFresh makes sure you get all the best picks all season long. Delicious, fresh meals. Will make your home the place to be this summer. Pre-proportioned ingredients that help cut down on food waste and time, while step-by-step instructions make cooking a breeze, not a chore. HelloFresh combines quality and convenience with ingredients making it from the farm to your door in less than 7 days. Sona, HelloFresh saved your life.
I don't know if it saved my life.
As a cook, you're a disaster on your own, but when HelloFresh is involved, it's fantastic.
I didn't think that was the case, but yeah, I really liked HelloFresh. They sent me 3 meals. One was a chicken, one was a pork, and one was a fish.
Yeah, and fantastic.
I crushed it.
Yeah, and I remember going to your house once for dinner before you used HelloFresh, and you served me 1 meatball on an ice cream cone.
Yeah.
No, that's not a meal. What HelloFresh did is it totally upped your game. Congratulations, Sona.
That was a good meatball.
No, I'm not sure that was meat. Anyway, go to HelloFresh.com/Team Coco 50 and use code Team Coco 50 for 50% off. Plus free shipping. That's Team Coco 50 at HelloFresh.com/Team Coco 50 for 50% off. Plus free shipping. America's #1 meal kit. The other thing I was remembering just now as you said it was there was other kind of bands that would come on, and I'm young, I'm 31, 32, and some of these bands are very intimidating.
Oh, yeah.
And they'd come on the show, and they're wearing tatters, like tattered leather.
Yeah.
And they've put makeup on that looks like their eyes are bleeding, and it's just incredibly intense. And the song is them, screaming and hate, die, hate, die. And I would go over afterwards, and of course I'm dressed like an insurance salesman. And I would go, and you can see it, and I'm like 31, 32, and be like, oh, well, murder mayhem. You go, we'll take a break. We'll be right back. Yeah. And in the commercial break, the Max Weinberg and the Seven would start to play. Dun, 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 dun. And inevitably, the guy would take off his skull mask and he'd say, lean over. And they were invariably from the Midwest. And he'd say, hey, I just want to say thank you so much for having us on. It's really an honor and such a pleasure, and so nice to finally meet you. And I'd be like, oh, and it turns out this is their act. This is show business. And they're lovely fellows.
Yeah, as Blaine Capatch has a great line about, I don't know if you know who Gigi Allen was. Gigi Allen was this extreme punk rocker. Mm-hmm. He would perform naked. He would defecate on stage. He would throw his poo at the audience. Mm-hmm. It was all in the early 90s. And Blaine Capatch has this is my impression of Gigi Allen before a show. When I shit in my hand, I've got 5. I'm coming right up. Just be ready. Be ready with my towels. But yeah, it is eventually like Dolly Parton and the guys from Slipknot could get together and go, oh yeah, the acoustics and the rhyming are crazy. We were trying to get, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like they have all that weird stuff.
This is the stuff I love. I love that it's show business because it doesn't matter. Yeah. Slipknot is another one of those bands where I went out there. I could be wrong, but I think their first TV appearance was on our show. And I remember it culminated with...
It was, and I'll tell you a story about that in a second. Go ahead.
It culminated with the drummer using his head to bang drums that were on either side of his head. I mean, it was just absolute madness.
Like Animal from the Muppets.
Yes. Yeah. And so I went over, and they're, fully unmasked and just madness. And I remember coming over and saying, Slipknot, and they all gave me a group hug. I swear to God, no one had showered in a year, and they'd been sweating. And so I remembered powerful smell, and all these guys wearing skulls hugging me. And then a minute, hey, Conan, thank you so much. I mean, lovely guys.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. And then the guy who, who hit his head against 2 drums, saying, no, I'm thinking maybe of... I might try to teach. I might try linguistics. But it was I always love that part. I always love where people are flipping identities.
Oh, I love that. Well, okay. So when Slipknot was first on your show, that was their first. And I know this because Brian Posehn called me and said, hey, I had one of the first TiVos for some reason. This is in the infancy of TiVo. Mm-hmm. He goes, could you please record Conan, because I have to work late and I don't know how to program my VCR and I don't want to miss Slipknot. And I go, yeah. So he goes, I'll come over tomorrow. I want to watch Slipknot, because he was a huge Slipknot fan. So I recorded the whole episode. I mean, I recorded all the episodes. I would just watch them all.
Right.
And on that episode, it was John Glazer and Brian and oh God, I'm blanking on his name, but they came out as the Slipnuts.
Yes.
Yeah.
You're like, we double booked. We weren't thinking it through.
Might have been Andy Blitz.
And it was Andy Blitz, Brian
Stack,
and John Glazer were the Slipnuts.
And it was a thing where there were these vaudevillian guys that would come out.
God, it was so clanky.
The whole idea was it was supposed to be just the worst idea ever. They were like, we're the Slipnuts. And their whole thing was...
They have one joke.
They had one joke, which is we put nuts on the floor and we slip on those nuts. How does it go?
We're the Slipnuts, slipping on nuts, and then clowning around and slipping on nuts. We're the Slipnuts, slipping on nuts. Oops, he fell down. And then John goes, I slipped on some nuts.
They repeat the joke like 8 times.
And it's maddening. So anyway, Brian comes over to my apartment.
Intentionally maddening.
Intentionally maddening. So Brian comes over to my apartment, and I had the whole short. So I queued it up to where the Slipnuts come on. And I go, hey, I recorded the Slipnuts last night. And he's like, Slipknot, dude. Like I'm mispronouncing it. I'm like, I watched the whole show. It's Slipnuts. He's like, Slipknot. I go, well, this is what I recorded, dude. And they came out, and he just stood there in silence for a second, like, what? I'm like, dude, it's a sketch. Here's Slipknot. Like, he got so pissed off at me because he didn't know that that's what you guys have done.
This makes me so happy. And Blay, you're going to remember what this is, I hope. But what we did once as a prank is we had Slipnuts come on a couple of times, and it was just infuriating. I think, obviously some people in the crowd got what we were doing, which was being intentionally stupid, but it was so irritating. And then one of my favorite things ever is we sent Slipnuts to an actual heavy metal concert. Have you seen this play?
One of the best pieces of footage
I've
ever seen.
So which one was it?
I think I was just about to look that up. It might have been a Slipknot's concert. They might have opened for Slipknot.
No. They opened for, I've seen this sketch. They opened for Slipknot, but you did this whole story where they have the Slipknots have broken up. One of them joined an ashram. The other one, they did this beat. Now they're back together and they've they just still do the same act, but they're basically, the backstage guy is like, you better get off as quick as you can. Like, they're going to be, and I don't know, someone got a great shot. Ladies and gentlemen, Slipknot. But the crowd just like, Slipknot, yeah. So they're all going crazy. And then the Slipknots come out and they got dressed
as vaudevillians.
Vaudevillians with bags of peanuts. And they get this moment where the crowd is like, yeah. And then every arm just goes down and you see the anger. And it's one of the most hilarious pieces of footage.
And they do the Slipknot, Slipknot, and they do that in front of the crowd and they commit to it. And then I fell down Slipknot, and the guy backstage said, "You better get the fuck out of here. They're gonna kill you."
Yeah, don't just leave the stage. Get out of the venue. You're dead. It was amazing. And from what I heard talking to John Glazer, Slipknot loved they loved the Slipknots on the show. They thought it was great.
Yeah.
And they're like, they have to open for us. I was like, okay, you're gonna get killed.